Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Charles in Charge Cowboy Sports Report. As it is January 10th, 2024, about 6:14 p.m. Central Time, my time. Hump Day, Wednesday. I'm hoping this microphone's working correctly. I'll be able to see whenever I look at the video after it's uploaded. Um, two big injury concerns on both sides, on both teams, actually. And for two key players. I think Green Bay has the worst end of it opposed to us. And a couple things to touch on here as we are going into wild card weekend. We are 4 days away from our first home playoff game of this 2023 season. Now, check it out, guys. The show's still young and growing. I'm at 385. With my brothers and sisters that bleed the same blood I do, blue and silver, I can get to 500 by the end of this season. Hopefully, for us, that ends in February. Hit that red subscribe button if you're watching this and you haven't subbed, guys. It's a free investment. It costs you nothing. That red subscribe button is free. Press it. Check out my content, next few videos. If you don't like it, then unsubscribe. But I guarantee you, you will like it. My first game, Super Bowl 28 at the Georgia Dome when we played Buffalo the second time. And that night, I was like 6 years old that night for no rhyme or no reason. I just fell in love with the team and been a fanatic since then, since 94 on. Watched every game. And really, when I got older, say about 1998, I was in sixth grade is when I really started to absorb all the information about the game and played the game my entire youth and been a student of the game my entire life. 1 second. Yes, we are. What is it?
TJ wrote this, so no.
Okay, doesn't matter, Giselle. Okay. Got a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old. Boy, they can be a handful. If you're shouting in the background, that's them. But guys, I will bring y'all the best content that there can be brought. This is a show about Cowboys fan talk and just talk about ball in general, talking ball. Not Mike Fisher, where I'm not a journalist, Mike Fisher, he 34 years covering the Cowboys, works for Sports Illustrated at the Star every day, knows facts about certain players and this and that. If you want that, you go watch Fish at 6 twice a day. If you want to talk ball, and if you know a thing or two about this team, which I've been watching for 30 years, then this is the channel for you. And I guarantee you this show will hit the achievements that it will hit and will grow and become one of the shows that you look forward to watching, like Law Nation, Mark Holmes, Mike Fisher, and whatnot. But it starts with y'all guys hitting that sub button and that like button also. The more likes a video gets, it pops up on other people's feeds that don't even know me, and that creates more subscribers. So we are 4 days away from kickoff at home against Green Bay. This Packers team is not the 2016 and 2014 Packer team that we faced. Both those games went down to the wire. The Dez caught it, didn't catch it. And then 2016, 31 all, 6 seconds left, no timeouts. Rodgers throws a rope to that damn tight end. I can't remember his name right now. With 1 second left. And Mason Crosby nails 258-yard field goals back to back. Well, you know what? That head coach is on our sideline now. And this Green Bay team is a virgin when it comes to the playoffs. Jordan Love and company, Aaron Jones, Kenny Clark, I think are the two guys that have playoff experience. I believe Jordan Love has seen playoff atmosphere, as he said on the bench. What's going on, Raymond? How you doing? I appreciate you joining in. Jordan Love has seen playoff atmospheres 2021. He was on the bench when the Packers were the 1 seed, I believe. So Jordan Love has seen playoff atmosphere just once, but he's never played in a playoff game. Our team is seasoned in the postseason. A quarterback from his rookie season, went to the playoffs. Went to the playoffs in 18 in the last 2 seasons. So this will be Dak's 5th trip to the postseason. This will be Dak's second best seeding since he's been in the league. Rookie year, number 1 seed. This year, the 2 seed. Now, I don't like the new playoff, uh, you know, setup the way it is now. The way it's been the last 3 seasons. I don't like having that 7th team in there because they added another regular season game. They take a preseason game away. And now 7 teams get in, and now the 2 seed doesn't get the bye week. I like the old format where you had 4 division winners, you had 2 wild card teams. The 2 division winners that had the best records had the 1 and 2 seeds, had the bye week, and then the 3rd and 4th seed, the lower division winners, played the wild card teams. That was better. I like that because therefore we would, be off this week. But more money, more playoff teams, it gets more views. So this Green Bay team we're playing 3 years ago would not have been a playoff team. In other words, 1 second. And we're 7.5-point favorites. Only way we lose this game is if we commit 13 penalties for 150 yards and turn the ball over 3 times and just shoot ourselves in the foot. We really ought to stomp this Packer team 41-17. Honestly, really. You look at the last 3 games. Green Bay's last 3 games are not that impressive, and they're coming in on a 3-game winning streak, yes. But one of those 3 wins was against the Panthers, 33-30. They allowed 30 points against Bryce Young and company. Panthers offense that no longer has DJ Moore. The last 3 games. Let's go back to the last 5 games. Packers' last 5 games going into the postseason. They go to MetLife to play the Giants. Giants beat them 24-22. Then they go home to play Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay gives them a whooping, beats them 34-20. Then they go to Carolina, and they eke by the Panthers 33-30 on the road. They're going to be on the road against us. Then they go to Minnesota, beat them down 33-10. Easy pickings there. And then last game of the season, they have a tight game against Chicago, 17-9. Now they're talking about how great Jordan Love played in that game. They still scored 17 points at home. 17 at home. Now, our defense this season is allowing opponents about 19 points a game. That's home and away. So if you were to break it down to what our defense is allowing at home, it would be a lot less than 19. I guarantee you that. Because on the road, we allowed 28 against Arizona, 42 against San Fran, 28 against Philly, 31 against Buffalo. 4 of the 5 losses, and only 22 against Miami. The only big-time point that we let up at home was against Seattle, 35. Other than that, nobody's really. It was going on Teflon Breed. I appreciate you jumping in. Besides Seattle, nobody's coming to our house and really put up points like that. So with our defense averaging 19 points a game allowed, Green Bay coming into our house is going to have some problems. And both teams have 2 big injury concerns. Ours is Tyler Smith and Stephon Gilmore. And Gilmore I mean, apologize for the cough. That's my Tourette's. I get under control. For 33 years old, not all players are made the same. Stephon Gilmore is still playing at an extremely high level. I mean, on Washington's first drive, when they had that trick play and Terry McLaurin was wide open for the touchdown, did y'all see Gilmore react and read the trick play and then run to where Terry was and then get that one arm up there and get that hand on that ball to break it up, almost intercepted it. I mean, that was a play-making play. And on the play that Gilly got injured, he was an inch away from breaking that pass up. That would have been a beautiful PBU on a third and long, fourth and long, whatever it was. But our two injuries are Tyler Smith, Stephon Gilmore. Green Bay, their two big injuries are their number 1 and number 2 wide receivers, which will loom large depending on if they play. And if they play, how effective will they be? Romeo Dobbs, he did play last week, but he didn't have a target or a catch. Christian Watson's been battling a hamstring problem, their best receiver. Didn't play last week. Not sure he played the week before. If he does play on Sunday, he will not be 100%, and he will not have that top-end speed. And if he does push it, he'll be pulling that hammy really bad and be out for the rest of the playoffs. So if Christian Watson does play, he will not be 100%. I believe that Gilmore can travel with him. Now, Gilmore has been staying on the left side, but when need be, like against Seattle, when DK was eating Blaine's lunch, they put Gilmore on DK, had him travel with DK. Metcalf didn't have a catch the rest of the game. That's what Gilmore can still do. He can still be a mirror. And so Tyler, plantar fasciitis, he tore against Detroit. They always say a complete tear is better than a partial tear. A complete tear, basically, pain management. Can you handle, the pain it gives you? Tyler's a grown-ass man, tough dude. I'm pretty sure they can give him some injections to ease the pain, and he should. I would, percentage-wise, I'd say 95%. He's out there. Teflon breed. So, per usual, all the national media, pundits, and Packer fans talking like they are the Warren Sapp Bucks. So, per usual, all the national media pundits and Packer fans talking like they're the Warren Sapp Bucks. What, like the talking heads in Green Bay are acting like they had that 2002 Bucks defense or that 99 Bucks defense? No, they have Kenny Clark. Yeah, Kenny Clark, has been there for a while. Really good defensive tackle. In the secondary, they still Jair Alexander. Good shutdown corner. I believe they have Darnell Savage at safety. At linebacker, Rashawn Gary. And one more guy that's been there for a while. What's the cat's name? Devondre Campbell. Those guys right there have been there for, a minute. I think, I know Kenny Clark was in the last playoff game, of course. Jair Alexander, of course, he was. And so was Rashawn Gary. And also, they do have Preston Smith still. I thought Preston Smith went to another team like Zadarius Smith did. Or maybe I'm tripping. I don't know. But, yeah, Tyler Smith, he's going to play. We're going to have Tyron, Tyler, Beadash, Martin, and Steele. And I don't believe Zach was sick Sunday against Washington. I believe that Zach just wanted to take his week off, get his week of rest, so he can come out Sunday pushing boys around like he does. This is paint from work today. Teflon. Yeah, like we have no shot against them. And Jordan Love all of a sudden is going to do us like A-Rod did. A lot of people think Green Bay has scored on their third consecutive quarterback. Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, now Jordan Love. Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre in their first season as a starter didn't make the playoffs. Jordan Love is the first one to do that. But also, Favre and Rodgers didn't have a 7 seed to obtain. They only had the 6 seed to get to. Eric Wallace, welcome, my man. Welcome, man. I miss you on these live shows, man. I'm glad you were able to catch us. I am sorry that the Seahawks didn't make it. These pesky Packers had to win. If the Packers would have lost, y'all could have gotten in. Now, I don't know if y'all beat Arizona or not. I know it was a close game. But if the Packers would have lost and y'all would have beat Arizona, y'all would have gotten the 7th seed. But it was Green Bay win and get in, and that's what they did. Now, y'all have Pete Carroll resigning as head coach and supposedly going to stay in Seattle and be some sort of what do you call it? Somebody in the front office type deal, kind of like what Bill Parcells did in Miami. So Dan Quinn, man, you know what? I know they changed the rule in the offseason about when you're allowed to interview coaches, because I can't stand that crap when they interview coaches during the playoffs. Because during the postseason, a defensive coordinator, an offensive coordinator, whoever the hell it is, should be 1,000% locked in to the playoff run. Eric Wallace, what's going on, buddy? We won, and today a changing of the guard. I think the name here is Dan Quinn. Yeah, he's got head coaching interviews for Washington, Carolina, Chargers, and today Tennessee asked permission to interview him. But there was a new rule of when teams could actually interview coaches that were in the playoffs. I think the rule should be that no head coach interviews until after the Super Bowl's over with. After the Super Bowl's over with, that when the clock hits triple zeros, then head coaches, coordinators or assistant coaches or whatever can go for head coach job interviews. But, to take a coordinator, that's going on a playoff run and, him flying to said team to do an interview during the week that they have a big playoff game, I cannot stand that. Now, I'm trying to look up this new rule that they had this offseason about when they could interview a, coach for a head coaching position. The new NFL, hold on. New NFL rule for interviewing head coaches. No. New NFL rule for interviewing head coaches.
According to Yahoo Sports, New York, the NFL has shifted its hiring policy in hopes of extending the duration of head coaching searches. Teams seeking to interview coaches currently employed by another club will now be prohibited from conducting in-person interviews with those candidates until after the divisional round of the playoffs.
Okay, so they can't interview coaches that are in the playoffs until after round 2. So if we win round 1 and round 2 and we're preparing to go to San Fran per se, then Dan Quinn is able to, do a head coaching interview on the week that we're trying to win the game to go to the Super Bowl. That's not good enough. No, it should be it shouldn't be, after a team is eliminated. I gotta read these. Eric Wallace. Also, he's also a former D coordinator in Seattle. Yeah. Eric Walls. Dan Quinn. He was the architect of the Legion of Boom. You know what I mean? That's why, he got the Atlanta head coaching job, blew that big 28-3 Super Bowl lead, and after that went downhill from there, got fired in 2020, and then was right for the taking in 2021 and was the best pickup that Mike McCarthy made in his tenure so far. Teflon. If Quinn leaves, how would you feel about Al Harris? Teflon Breed. It's funny you say that because I've said if we go away or if we go to the championship game, or even if we make it to the Super Bowl and do lose, and Dan Quinn does take a head coaching job, I believe Al Harris could be a very good defensive coordinator. Because look what he's done with these young cornerbacks that we have. I mean, Trayvon Diggs, second round pick out of Alabama, turned him into a top end shutdown corner. I mean, it sucks. He ruptured his Achilles after week 2. But then look at Deron Bland, fifth round pick of last season, first team All Pro this year. In Trayvon Diggs' second season, he was first team All Pro with 11 picks. Deron Bland, his second season, first team All Pro, 9 picks. 5 of the 9 he took back to the house. Al Harris is a very, very good defensive mind. And I believe, I really do, because, we like our guys. We like to promote from within. So if we have a good playoff run and we at least make it to the chip game and Mike McCarthy stays, even though Belichick and Jim Harbaugh, will be out there, and Jerry likes those big names for head coaches, and Dan Quinn goes out to another team, Al Harris would be perfect, I believe, to step in for that DC role for us. And he knows all the players. You know what I mean? I don't believe we would skip a beat with him at DC. Chris Gons, I am fired up for Green Bay. Let's kick their butts. Tired of hearing about Green Bay and the thorn to us over the years. Even that loss we had, 31-28. That was not in overtime. That was at our career, brother. And it was 34-31, 2016. And then we lost to them, 26-21 in 2014. That was at Green Bay. After the divisional round, yikes, that's flaky. Yeah, no, I don't like that rule. The rule should be no coaches can be interviewed until after the season's over. Then it's free game. So Dan Quinn, whenever he is game planning for, just hypothetically, we win the next 2 games and say the Rams can't knock off San Fran. So we're preparing to go to the Niners, right? Brock Purdy, Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, all them guys. Dan Quinn's preparing this defense, to stop this prolific offense. But in the back of his mind, he's thinking about the defense that the Chargers have and what he could do with that defense. And and he's not 120% locked into, the game ahead of him. He's kind of thinking, no matter what he says, no matter what anybody says, that 10% in his brain is thinking about what head coaching job he could possibly get and what it could look like. That's what I can't stand about that rule. Al Harris would be great. Yeah, you would. He picked off a pass in the playoffs versus my Hawks, I believe, in 03 and took it to the house. Yeah, that was a playoff game. That was a winning play in a playoff game when he was with the Packers. It might have been against the Seahawks. I think it was in overtime, too. I'm not sure. But, yeah, I do remember that Al Harris pick 6 in a playoff game that ended it. Chris Gons, when you have a successful season and Dan Quinn being a name, opportunities are going to happen in other organizations. And him being at Seattle, not surprising his name came up. Oh, yeah, Seattle also is asking permission to interview him. So that'd be 5 teams. Chris, he's definitely the one I want. It was indeed. Yes, sir, it was. Eric Wallace, who's Chris? I don't know who you're talking about there. Now, Stephon Gilmore, his shoulder got, popped out on that, ball he was trying to break up on that third down to Terry McLaurin. Now, he was in a sling after the game in high spirits, saying that, for sure he's going to play on Sunday. Now, they have braces for, they put him in to the locker room, and medical staff popped the shoulder back in place. Now, for the first week or two after that happens, your shoulder can come back out of socket. So what they have is they have a brace they can put on Gilmore's shoulder, which they will do. But that does limit your range of motion, which you can do with your right arm. So if he has to, put his right arm up, high to break up a pass, he won't be able to do that. He will with his left hand, not his right hand. But Gilmore with 2 legs and 1 arm is 10 times better than Deshaun Wright any day of the week and twice on Sunday. As long as we don't have to depend on Deshaun Wright for one play, we'll be all right. And hopefully we can just mow over Green Bay, mow them over. I mean, we're not going to overlook any team. In the playoffs, that's the most foolish thing you could do. And what was it, 2009, Seattle won their division 7-9, the NFC West, and New Orleans went to Seattle to play a losing team in the first round, and Seattle wound up winning that game. Marshawn Lynch in overtime had that beast mode run and upset the Saints at 7-9 and advanced to the second round with a losing record. So you can't overlook any team in the postseason, even a team that hasn't played in the postseason. Teflon Breed, I'm hoping Big Hankins is ready for the game and Tyler Smith, but our backup guards played well. Our backup guards played damn good. Even though Jonathan Allen didn't play on Sunday, he's, part of the defensive tackle duo Washington has. Deron Payne did play. Allen did not. But T.J. Bass and Brock Hoffman at center, not too good this season, but at right guard, he looked pretty damn good on Sunday. Tony Pollard, if we can get Tony Pollard to run as physical as he did on Sunday for 4 games, even if it shaves off 2 years of his career, that would be huge, because Tony Pollard on Sunday, even though it was against Washington, he looked Zeke-esque. He looked like Ezekiel Elliott-esque, the way he was running with that physical mentality he was running with. I mean, he was getting hit after 3 yards and getting 5 yards after contact. You know what I mean? He was carrying guys. He was carrying piles. He had 17 carries for 70 yards and a touchdown. And Enrico, who is playing very well, had like 9 carries for 60-something yards, 5.1 a carry. Tony Pollard had 4.1 yards a carry. So, Chris Gaunt, Charles, I think Eric Walls is a Seahawks fan and wants Dan Quinn at Seattle. I think he was pertaining to me. Yeah, Chris Gaunt. Eric Walls is a Seahawks fan first. He's a Cowboys fan second. I can respect that. Personally, I don't have a second favorite team. Players I can, go for, like whenever early 2000s, whenever we were 5-11 and then 10-6 with Parcells, and then 6-10 the next year with Parcells. Whenever we're horrible, I would root for Peyton Manning. You know what I mean? Because I loved that quarterback. He is my favorite quarterback of all time. I believe he's the best quarterback of all time. We could debate that all day, him and Tom Brady. If Peyton Manning would have been on the Patriots, I believe Pats would have had like 8 rings. Teflon Breed, I guarantee Aubrey won't do us like Maher did in the playoffs. No, man, Brandon Aubrey is from outer space. We were, I was petitioning this offseason to bring back Maher because Brett Maher had a good season last year. He did. He progressed from 2018 to last year. 2018, he was, Brett the Fret Maher. Last season, he was Brett Money Maher. And then against Tampa, he had a freak out game, couldn't make an extra point. So I'm like, okay, he has a freak out game, but it doesn't affect it. It doesn't hurt us. And then against San Fran, the first field goal gets blocked. That's considered a miss, which it shouldn't be. Brandon Aubrey's first miss of his career was a block. But then after that, Maher knocked in his next 2 field goals at San Fran. So I was like, okay, Brett is back in. His mind is okay. He made like a 36-yarder and like a 47-yarder at San Fran in the divisional round game. So in the offseason, I was thinking, just re-sign Brett Maher, He can kick them 60-yard field goals. He's made 4 in his career. Against Minnesota last season, he made 60-yard field goal back-to-back because he called a timeout, so he kicked it again. And then we bring in Brett Maher from the USFL, ex-soccer player, and I'm like, who is Brandon Aubrey from the USFL? I was like, we struck gold with Turpin as a return man, and a gadget guy from the USFL. I was like, Brandon Aubrey. I was like, God, this is going to suck. And then week 1, he misses the first XP, and I'm like, we're going to be looking for kickers. And then he goes 35 of 35. No kicker has started his career making his first 35 field goals. And then they block it, on Sunday, and that is considered a miss. So that was his first miss. And then the second field goal hits the upright, and then we all started thinking for a second, damn, like before the playoffs, is Brandon Aubrey going to start crumbling before our eyes? But I wanted him to get one more opportunity that game, and he did. And it was not a chip shot. It was a 50-yard attempt. It was right down the middle, just like he does it. His kicks don't leave you, leaning one way or the other. Usually whenever he kicks a field goal, even if it's a 55, 58-yard attempt, as soon as he kicks that ball, it's good because it is right dead center, like bowling. It's like he's just going for the strike right down the middle. And I believe if it came down to it, he can make a 70 or 75-yarder to win a game. I believe his leg is that strong. It is that strong. And he's only 28 years old. Chris, Charles, I think our big advantage is Green Bay secondary. I think we can exploit it big time. CeeDee Lamb, the equalizer, get him the ball. Brandon Cooks, get him the ball. Yeah, man. Our offense is pass first. We haven't had much of a running game this season. Now, if the Cowboys were smart and would have brought back Zeke, even if we had paid Elliott $4 million or $5 million, it would have been worth it. I don't see why they didn't see how much he brought to the team. Now, he was going to take a tremendous pay cut because he was, released, but he could have been re-signed. What was his contract with New England? Ezekiel Elliott's contract with the Patriots.
According to Yahoo Sports, the contract details for Ezekiel Elliott's 1-year deal with the New England Patriots were revealed on Wednesday. Per Pro Football Talk's Mike Florio, Elliott is going to get a $600,000 signing bonus. On top of this, he also received a $1.55 million base salary with a per-game roster bonus totaling $850,000.
So you telling me that Jerry and Steven wouldn't bring back Elliott for $1.5 million base salary with a $600,000 signing bonus and another $850,000 roster bonus? We wouldn't bring him back for that? Man, we needed a hammer Whenever you got a back like Pollard, you need a hammer to go with that lightning. And Pollard could be the number one back going into the season. Zeke, would have been fine with that. He'd been wearing number 15 with a chip on his shoulder to show everybody he still got it. And that still aggravates me. Exactly. That's what's been killing us in short yardage, tough run for a first down and short touchdown. Yeah, exactly. At Miami on that first drive, when Tony Pollard got spun around at the goal line by a free safety 10 pounds lighter than he was, with one arm, that free safety with one arm, spun his ass around, kept him out of the end zone. Elliott would have broke that boy's arm getting into the end zone. But if that would have just been Pollard's run, we'd have lined up, giving it to 21 or 15 in this instance, and he'd have just punched it right in. Those 2 and 3 yard runs in a cloud of dust, they weren't fancy and they weren't sexy, but they were effective. And they would soften up a defensive line. And then when they would give it to Tony Pollard, then he would be able to bust off his 20, 30 yard runs. We had no hammer this season. We thought Hunter Lupiki might be one, but apparently in practice he didn't impress that much, so he didn't get much playing time. Rico Dowdle, if anybody's a hammer, it'd be him, but he's not much of a hammer. Our running game has not been that good this season. It was good last year and the year before. 2021, it was good for the first half of the season. Last season, it was good for 3/4 of the season until Steele got hurt. If Elliott would have been on the team this year, and he's going to be with the team during the playoffs, he'll probably be in the press box with Jerry Jones during the playoff games. He'll be with the team. That's one thing I regret in the offseason, us not retaining, one of the originals. And if we go to Vegas, if we make it to Vegas and hoist that trophy, and you got Dak hoisting that trophy, and Zach Martin and Ty Smith, and all these guys that Elliott's played with, D-Law, and Zeke ain't there, to share that trophy with him, get that ring. It would be just like Emmett not being on that stage when Troy and Michael, Leon Lett, Charles Haley, and all them boys hoisting that trophy up. You know what I mean? Like in '93, whenever Emmett had that 2-game holdout, the first 2 games, and we lost those first 2 games, and Jerry Jones finally caved in. I mean, that's ancient history now, is what it is. Chris Gunn said yes, that would have been a touchdown with Zeke at Miami. Yeah, and that would have started the game 7-0 and completely changed the whole dynamic of the game. But that fumble at the goal line and then them getting that 50-yard pass, out of their own end zone changed everything. Teflon Breed. So we bring back Pollard or draft it back. If we bring back Tony Pollard, it'd be for a low, 2-3 million tops, not 10 million, that's for sure. But my prediction, I'm sticking with it. I said it on Monday. My prediction for this game is 41-17 Cowboys. I think we win the toss. We elect to receive. We get the ball first. We march down the field and get on top 7-0 quick. Now, I believe Tyler and Stephon Gilmore will play. Green Bay's 2 big injuries are their top 2 receivers, Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson. Romeo Doubs did play last week, didn't have a target or a catch. Christian Watkins has a hamstring injury bothering him. He didn't play last week. I don't know if he played the week before. But if Watson does play, he's a guy that killed us last season in that comeback. If he does play, he won't be 100%. He'll be limited by the hamstring, and he won't be as fast as he usually is. And Romeo Doubs also. So if they both play, they'll both be, halfway. But if one of them doesn't play, that's huge. That's really huge because they're going to try to run the ball with Aaron Jones first and foremost. If we can stop that run, which I know we can, Hankins got his 15 snaps last week, so he's back and ready to roll. And as long as we stop that run game, we can control the ball game. And I believe our offense is gonna light the damn scoreboard up. O-line's getting better with Zach Martin, Tyler Smith coming back. Yeah. And they both got a week off last week. So they're gonna be fresh. I didn't particularly like Tyron playing last week. I thought, we should have sat him. I believe we could have still won 38-10 with Asim Richards at left tackle. Our rookie 5th-round pick from North Carolina. He hadn't got hardly any playing time this season. Out of, in these games, this season we've had so many damn blowouts that we've had the backups going in the third quarter. I would have liked to have seen Asim Richards get a lot more playing time than he's gotten. To see if maybe he could be the future left tackle. You never know, because Tyron Smith this season, 2nd team All-Pro, only behind Trent Williams, who is just right now in a tier of himself. But Tyron Smith, 2nd team All-Pro, basically means he was the 2nd best left tackle in the NFL this season. Tyron Smith at 32 years old. I believe if we keep him on Tyron Wednesdays and just have him do walkthroughs Friday and Saturday, I think Tyron could play another 2-3 years. I really do, at a very high level. And that'll be talked about this offseason, depending, and especially depending on how the season ends. If I find this kind of ironic, right? We've played the Niners last 2 years in the playoffs, wild card round, divisional round. In the 90s, we played them 3 straight years in the championship game, 92, 93, and 94. In 92, we were the 2 seed. And we made it to San Fran. We were not supposed to win the game. The Niners were the better team. On paper, supposedly, we weren't supposed to win that game. So if we make it to the Bay Area in the championship game this season, it's a game we're not supposed to win. San Fran beat us down this season, week 5, and knocked us out the last 2 years. I think it'd be very reminiscent of the early 90s if being the 2 seed, we go to San Fran in a game we're not supposed to win and pull out a win. We won that game 30-20. Pull out a win, something similar to that. That would just, with the Jimmy curse being lifted, I know that's just folklore, but maybe there's something to that. You never know. Maybe God was like, Jerry, your pride's in the way until you give this man, the honor he deserves. I will not let your team get past the 2nd round. We don't know how God works. That could have been the case. Chris Gaughan's prediction, 55-24. Damn, Chris Gaughan's 55-24. You see us putting up a 50 burger. Dak throwing 5 touchdowns. Teflon Breed predicts Ferguson getting 2 touchdowns, Lamb getting 2 also. 35-14 Cowboys. I like both those predictions. I like yours, Teflon's, because I don't like allowing a lot of points, and allowing 14 in a playoff game is pretty good. 41-17, a 17 is like the maximum I like to allow. I don't like to allow more than 17 points in the playoff. I'm a defensive-minded type of person. So I like to have a good defense. It keeps, the points low. So 55-24, I would take that too. I would want the majority of those 24 points to come in garbage time in the 4th quarter. So if it's 55-24, I would rather be like 55-10, and then Green Bay just have 2 wild touchdown drives in the last 5 minutes just to save face, in other words. or it'd be 55-17. And they get a backdoor touchdown with 30 seconds left, something like that. But I do think, a lot of people are saying Packers are playing with house money. They don't have any pressure. Da 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 da, blah 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 blah. Matt LaFleur, the head coach, is going to feel pressure. The quarterback, Jordan Love, is going to feel pressure. It's a damn playoff game, and with 100,000 fans screaming at the top of their lungs, I mean, we finally have home field advantage now. It's probably why we won 16 straight at home. When it opened up in 2009, it was like a tourist attraction, not really a home field stadium. We finally made it a home field stadium for us. Last time we lost at home was week 1 last season against Tampa, 19-3. That's the last time we lost at home. That's a hell of a run. And as we know, the record is 18 in a row at home from 79 to 81 under Tom Landry. So if we can match that home winning record of 18, that means we will have made it to the NFC Chip game, which we have not been to since I was 9 years old in 3rd grade. And if we make it there and we can get past whoever we got to play, whether it's the Niners at San Fran or whether it's the Rams at home, if we go to the Super Bowl, I am going to Vegas. There's no way I'm getting tickets, of course, because you got to be super super rich to get tickets. But I'm going to Vegas, and I'll be watching a game at Sports Cage and a casino or something like that. So whenever we win that game, hopefully against Buffalo, to get our revenge for the last 2 games, and win our 3rd against them in the Super Bowl, we can celebrate in the streets. That would be awesome, to meet Buffalo in the Super Bowl and knock them down. Teflon, I just don't see McCarthy getting outcoached by LaFleur as home. Plus, I think he wants to beat Green Bay, his former team. Yeah, and Teflon, he also wants revenge for Green Bay beating him last season at Green Bay when we were up 28-14 in the 4th quarter, and we allowed Aaron Rodgers to hit Christian Watson for 2 touchdowns to tie it up and then beat us in overtime with a field goal in a game that we should have won, hands down. Chris Guns, Charles, that's going to be for all the heartaches and painful losses we've had over the years we had with that organization. I want our team with a killer instinct. We can score at every possession. We can score every possession. What was it against Seattle? We didn't have 1 punt, right? Again, that was the Seahawks game. We didn't have 1 punt, and then I don't think and then the next game was against Philly, and I don't think we punted till like the 3rd quarter. So we went like 6 straight quarters without a punt. Our offense has nuclear capability. CeeDee Lamb is a top 3 receiver in this league. Top 3. The 3 All-Pro receivers, first was Tyreek, second was CeeDee Lamb, and A.J. Brown somehow made first team All-Pro receiver. I don't know how, because, he took a landslide the last 5 games. Amon St. Brown, there was a lot of people that should have been first team All-Pro receiver in the 3rd slot. Top wide receiver stats. Check this out real quick. I'm gonna have to shut it down here in a minute. The wife just got home, and we have problems like every other married couple. No Cowboys receiver or tight end has ever led the NFL in receptions. CD finished the league the season with 135 balls. The nearest one to him was Tyreek and Amon St. Brown with 119. That is 16 away from CeeDee Lamb. And CeeDee Lamb also, yards after catch, 680 yards after catch. That's pretty damn impressive. Evan Ingram, tight end. Who's he play for? I always keep forgetting. He had 114 grabs. Pretty good for a tight end. But A.J. Brown had 106 receptions. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 8 in receptions. A.J. Brown, 8th in receptions with 106. Only one more than rookie Puka Nacua. And then you want to go to yards. Tyreek, number 1 in yards, was 1,799. CD had 1,749. Only 50 yards left in the Cheetah. 50 yards less than the Cheetah. CD. Amon St. Brown had 1,515. 1,500 yards. 1,515 receiving yards. St. Brown. A.J. Brown had 1,456. Amon St. Brown had 10 touchdowns. A.J. Brown had 7. I mean, hell. DJ Moore had 1,364 yards, 8 touchdowns. Amon St. Brown should have been the third first team All-Pro receiver. They gave it to A.J. Brown. Why? I don't know. Now, Jason Kelsey and Lane Johnson, yeah, I could see them being first team All-Pro center and right guard because, they're the best at their said position. Zach Martin was first team All-Pro right guard. Lane Johnson right tackle. Jason Kelsey center. I do think that no, there's only 2 quarterbacks, so it was Lamar Jackson and Brock Purdy. But yeah, I mean, and CeeDee Lamb shattered every almost every single season receiving record this year. He shattered Michael Irvin's reception record and yardage record. Only record he don't have is Dez's record with 16 touchdowns in a season. CD had 12. So I wouldn't be surprised if next year, Lamb goes for 17, 18 touchdowns. He hasn't even hit a ceiling yet. That's a scary thing. And even Michael Irvin conceded last week that after the Washington game, even Michael Irvin said that CeeDee Lamb will be the best 88 from all 4 of them. Better than Drew Pearson, better than the playmaker, better than Dez. Dez was great and all, but Dez couldn't line up in the slot. Michael Irvin would not line up in the slot. Lamb's so versatile, and he is just starting to really feel it. And he has not hit a ceiling yet. That's the scary part. Chris, I think we were the highest scoring team in the league. We scored 509 points in the season, I think. Teflon, I don't want to see Dak win MVP. That chip on his shoulder through the playoffs. No, Dak's not going to win MVP, man. That's going to be Lamar Jackson. I can hear Lamar or Brock Purdy, but probably Lamar. They had the best record in the league, and they stomped San Fran. The Ravens are not talked about that much, but they're pretty much the boogeyman of the NFL. I think only one team really gave them a problem. I was so happy back in 2020 NFL draft when CD fell to us at pick 17. Yeah. So was I. I forgot we were looking at some other position and, he fell to us at pick 17 while Jerry was on his yacht, COVID year. And, and I go back to when we traded Amari Cooper last season. Only thing I regret about that is we only got a 5th for Amari. As you can see, he's balling out with the Browns. And you know how good we draft. We could have at minimum, we could have gotten a 3rd easy. Probably a 2nd, maybe a 1st. But to give Amari Cooper away for a fifth is ignorant. But it was a good thing because it made CeeDee Lamb become the number one. And if Amari Cooper would have been on the team last year and this year, Lamb would not have become the receiver that he's become. So last season, he had become the number one. And it took him like half the year to really fill that number one role. The first half of the season, he looked like lamb chops. And in the second half of the season last year, he started putting it on. And then this year, the first 5 weeks, we're calling, conservative offense until we get run over by San Fran. And then CeeDee Lamb respectfully goes into McCarthy's office and respectfully asks to get the ball more, says it'll be better for the team. And, and he was right, man. McCarthy started to do that. After week 6, CeeDee Lamb has been the most productive receiver in the NFL. And then Brandon Cooks, like you said, Chris Gons, Brandon Cooks had a very slow start. I mean, I was so surprised at how slow he was starting in this offense. But he's a seasoned veteran that's gotten over 1,000 yards with 4 different teams with 5 different quarterbacks, can still take the top off of a defense. That's why I think he was a better pickup than DeAndre Hopkins. Yeah, a lot of people want us to get D-Hop. Well, D-Hop is a little similar to CeeDee Lamb. And we already, Lamb is, kind of big, physical. He's starting to run the ball, Debo-esque type style. We needed that, Marcus Ishmael, Joey Galloway type receiver that we haven't had in 20 years. And that's Cooks. But Dak has to get better at the deep ball because he has missed a lot of deep balls. Cooks has got behind the defense many a times, and Dak cannot just drop that ball over the shoulder. Like over at Buffalo. Buffalo scores. We get the ball on second down. Cooks beats, the stadium's so damn small, I can see all this happening. I see Cooks beat the safety in the corner. I see Dak launch it. And I'm like, man, I'm about to witness something awesome. And it's 5 yards, 5 yards in front of Cooks. I'm like, to overthrow Brandon Cooks, you really got to throw that damn thing hard because Brandon's fast. He's still like a 4.3 speed. Teflon, I still laugh about CD snatching the phone from his girl. Yeah, I like that. I like that picture. CD proved he was number one. Thank God also that year Philly drafted Jalen Reagor instead of Justin Jefferson. You were right about that, Chris. Man, if they had drafted Justin and then traded for A.J. Brown last season and not drafted Devontae Smith, well, actually, they would have probably not traded for A.J. Brown because they drafted Devontae Smith in 2021. So they had gotten Jefferson in 2020, Smith in 2021. That would have been a better duo than Brown and Smith. Because Justin Jefferson, when healthy, is maybe the best receiver in the league. Guy's damn near unstoppable. He's been injured most of the season this year, but besides the Cheetah, just because of his speed, makes him as good as he is. He's learned to, run the entire route tree with his small size, and that's rare for a receiver of his size to be able to run the entire route tree. But, he's one of the exceptions. But he's got that all-world speed. But, Brandon Cooks is coming along now. Jason Ferguson is our next great tight end. Last season, I kept telling people that's our new guy, He didn't get a whole lot of stats because we still had Dalton Schultz. But I was like, Schultz can walk because we have Jake Ferguson. Let him ball, get him the ball, watch what he can do. And throughout the season, he has gotten better and better and better. And what I like is his attitude. Jason Witten had attitude also, but not like this kid. This kid's different. He's made from a different mold. we've had 4 great receivers, 88s, Pearson, Irvin, Dez, Lamb. And we've had 4 great tight ends. One in the 70s, I forgot his name. And then Novacek, Witten, and now it will be Jake Ferguson. Ferguson will be the next great tight end that we have, except he'll be a little bit more athletic than Witten. I don't ever remember Witten hurdling anybody ever. And the attitude that Ferguson has is beautiful. Even Travis Kelce last season said that this kid's a real deal. And I call him Travis Kelce Jr. because they have the same number. Boy, I could talk Cowboys all night. That was a great draft for 2020. We had a great – yeah, it was. Because usually on our second-round picks, we usually blow them. Trayvon Diggs was a freaking, home run, as was CD. And Biotish, came from the same college as Travis Frederick, Wisconsin. He's not Frederick, of course, but, he made the Pro Bowl last year as an alternate. It's a contract year for him this season. We're hoping for better play. I mean, he wasn't bad, but he can't get better. And being that he didn't ball out this year, I hope that we can re-sign him for like a 1 or 2 year deal for cheap. He's not getting the bag anywhere he goes. So if we can retain him and keep developing him into a better center, that'd be good because that'll keep our offensive line young and growing. And then we just need that one big pick, like Osiris Torrance. If we'd have got him around 2, that would have, for all intents and purposes, rebuilt our offensive line. I mean, he's doing great with Buffalo right now, playing guard. He could have played left guard for us. He was right guard. He could have played left and played great. I mean, the guy was powerful and strong. He probably would have been backup left guard because Tyler was, left and Tyron left tackle. But that's fine. You know what I mean? He could have been a red shirt and been a terrific backup. He would have started the first 2 games for us, And then at Arizona, Tyler could have went to left tackle and then Torrance would have stayed at left guard, you know what I mean? And we would have had, not as many linemen missing that particular game that could have changed things. There's a whole lot of, if, ands, or buts. This past draft ain't looking too good, but I guess we'll see. Yeah, we're spoiled. We're used to having our draft picks, produce instantly, produce great fruit instantly. You know what I mean? 2020, even though that was Dak's broken leg year, Lamb was balling out. Trayvon Diggs came on strong late in the season. Neville Gallimore, I believe, was making plays. As was Osa. In 2021, Micah Parsons, came out swinging. Who else did we get in 2021? I can't remember. Last year, Tyler Smith, is left tackle all season. Deron Bland comes in as slot corner, plays great. We had like 4 or 5 rookies last year that played great off the jump. How can I not remember? Yeah, I'm just having brain farts right now. Tyler Smith, Deron Bland, Jake Ferguson was a rookie last season. Our rookies were just playing great. So we're spoiled on that note. But this draft class could prove to be good in the future. That's my son, Charles. That's my daughter standing right next to me, Giselle. Teflon Breed, I agree, nobody impacted. Yeah, not round 1. And Mozzie, especially our first round picks, usually ball out their first season. Mozzie is a development. He's a project. And for some reason, they want him to drop weight right now and play 3 tech. When he was drafted to be a nose tackle. Sweetheart, get out of here. I'm doing a video. Now, Giselle, I said get out of here.
You said no, get out.
You walk.
Okay.
Guys, if y'all don't have kids, think about before having kids. Walk out of here. But hopefully, in the off season, Mozzie Smith is like at 330 pounds and is back at, one tech as we drafted him to be. We drafted him to be that Russell Maryland type player that we drafted in 91 in the first round. That nose tackle that will take on a guard and center. A Vita Vea type guy, an Adama Suh type guy. Supposed to be the gorilla. Supposed to be this big, pounder in the weight room. So he's a guy that we'll just have to see. He might bloom in his third season or maybe next year. We don't know. But it damn sure ain't this year. We know that. I apologize for the tics and the coughs. It's my Tourette's. Some videos I can, completely block it out. It's mind over matter sometimes. But if you're watching this live show later after it's uploaded, if you like this content, guys, subscribe. I'm at 385. Help me get to 500 by the end of this season, which is hopefully February for us, guys. If y'all can do that, then I will hit 1,000 during the off season. And from there, we'll take off. I'll be able to get a desktop to link with this laptop so I can have film and graphics to show y'all, like, the more advanced shows and studio equipment with sound bites and whatnot. And a call-in line for live shows like this. So whenever we have like 30, 40, 50 people or more, the call-in line, will be, going on, and you call post-game, pre-game, during the week, whatever, man. This show will become one of the shows that you will look forward to watching and participating in. I guarantee you that. First-class content all day, every day. I appreciate it, Chris. I appreciate it, my man. Chris says 2021, Micah Parsons, Osa, Kelvin Joseph. Yeah, Kelvin Joseph was our second-round pick in 21. He's not even in the league anymore. Quinn Bohanna. Man, Bohanna was 360 pounds out of Kentucky. I had big hopes that he was going to be this badass one tank for us, and he just flamed out. And Deshaun Wright, and then we drafted Izzy McQuamu. Yeah, Izzy was a good draft pick. He's been a healthy scratch for most of the season this year, which has been very surprising, being that Diggs went down. Izzy McQuamu plays free safety, but he also plays pretty good slot cornerback. And I kept thinking during the off season or during the season, why not try him full time at slot in the slot? So if Jordan Lewis starts to struggle, we could put number 24 in there, if that's still his number. That was his number last year. And maybe Izzy has a knack for slot corner and it could be a really, really good one. You know what I mean? Who knows? But he hadn't got much playing time this year, and that's been very surprising to me. Man, I was surprised we let Ridgeway go too. Yeah, that was the whole point of the dumbass move of last season, giving Amari Cooper to Cleveland for a fifth-round pick. In that fifth-round pick, we drafted John Ridgeway, the Vanilla Gorilla, who is playing pretty damn good ball at defensive tackle for Washington. And we put him on the practice squad just for a week, and Washington ain't dumb. They snatched him right up. So basically, we got nothing for Amari Cooper. That was who we got for him, was John Ridgeway. I always forget. I know him as the Vanilla Gorilla. I always forget his name, but yeah, Ridgeway. So basically, Ridgeway, got stolen his rookie season by Washington. So we got nothing for Amari, which was completely foolish. DC Nation, please hit that red subscribe button. It's free. It costs you nothing. This puppy, go, Noah, go. I got this brindle boxer for my wife for Christmas. He likes to chew on things. He cannot chew on these wires. Cowboy Nation, hit that subscribe button. It's free. It costs you nothing. Check me out. I guarantee you'll like my content and you will stay. Hit that like button, guys. That like button, basically, the more likes a video gets, it'll pop up on other people's feeds, people that don't even know this show, and they'll watch it, and hopefully subscribe. And if y'all can share this content. Hey, JC, Cowboys Network, what's up, big dog? Man, you coming on the tail end, brother. Man, I wish you'd have been here 30 minutes ago. Real quick before I go, what's your score prediction? I know it's only Wednesday, and we're assuming Tyler and Gilmore play. And let's just assume Dobbs and Watson play for Green Bay. Let's just assume that. But if Watson does play for Green Bay with that hamstring injury, he won't be 100%. So, JC, what's your score? What's your early score prediction? Mine, I've already said, is 41-17. I think we dominate them from, the kickoff to victory formation. 41-17. What's your early score prediction? JC Cowboy Network is saying 38-20. Cowboys roll. Well, that is pretty much on par with what everybody's been saying. Chris Gons, he's saying Blaine's going to have a pick 6. Yo, you know what, JC? That would be perfect. And what I loved at Washington was Blaine getting that interception towards the end of the game, because I want him to go in the playoffs with confidence, because at Seattle, I think Seattle shook his confidence really bad. I really do. I think that Seattle game, because up until that game, he was balling out. That Seattle game, I think, really humbled him and shook his confidence. He's played good since then, and then getting that pick against Washington, I think, was really great to, up his confidence going to the playoffs. So, JC Cowboys Network, if Blaine gets a pick 6 in a playoff game, then his confidence is going to go sky high. And you can best believe the rest of the postseason, he's going to be, playing loose and playing good. You know what I'm saying, big dog? All right, guys. I appreciate y'all joining in. This was a success for a live show. Whenever you have a smaller show like I do, live shows can be a hit or miss. 2 days ago, I tried to go live, and it was a bunch of crickets. And I was talking to myself for like 15 minutes. But tonight, my fam's with me. I appreciate it, guys. If we win, we should game ball to Mike McCarthy against his old team. Yeah, I feel that. And forgive Mike for taking us out of the playoffs, 14 and 16. Those are the 2 seasons that we were so close to getting to the chip game. And Chris Gunn says, thank you, Charles. Thank you, Chris. Man, I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for, the fans out there and the Cowboys Nation out there that participates in stuff like this. You know what I mean? And so, last thing, guys, before y'all leave, last thing, I want y'all to hear this. Hold on 1 second. Hey, stop, Noah. Keep God first and foremost. Remember this always. Keep God first and foremost. He comes before everything, even this. Seek him in his righteousness, and everything else in your life will be added unto you. I am a living testimony of that. I've got testimonies out the wazoo. Just, I got to say that in every one of my shows. I should start saying it in the beginning. JC Cowboys Network. It's all good, bro. That's the early stages of streams. I'm still working on mines. My normal videos are some of the highest on YouTube but streams are iffy. Yeah, yeah. Streams are iffy. Some streams could be like really, really good, and then some streams it'd be like 20 minutes have gone by. I've been talking the whole time. You'll see like one guy pop up, because you can see he was on there. One guy pop up, and then one guy, and then he'll go away, and then you'll see another guy pop up and go away. And it's like, why don't y'all stay for a minute and listen to what I gotta say, and maybe you might get interested. You know what I mean? Like, and it just, it is what it is. But it's like Law. How Law Nation at one point was gonna quit his show because it can get frustrating. It does get frustrating sometimes whenever you're not getting the subscribers and the you're not growing like you think you should be. And he was that close to quitting. Law was. His grandmother wouldn't let him do it, and turns out he's created something great for himself. I don't even think Law has a regular job anymore. I think all he does is just go live, and now he's got sponsors doing sponsoring the show. That would be my dream to get my channel to that size, man. And basically, really, the goal is here is this is a passion of mine, has been for 30 years, is to get it to where I can monetize this channel and have like a side hustle, a side income, just discussing a passion of mine. You know what I mean? And I'd be doing it a lot more. Of course, I don't cut videos every day like Mark Holmes and Law Nation does because I'm not there yet. But once I get there, that's kind of the goal. And I could go on for another 3 hours, and especially if I had a call in line right now. If I had a call in line right now and say 30 more people, I do a 4 hour show, no problem. I say that now, but I'm pretty sure it gets taxing. As you can see, Law gets tired sometimes. So, all right, Chris Gons, good night. Good night, JC. I appreciate you jumping in, my big dog. You are ahead of me pretty good. It ain't no contest, but I am trying to get to where you're at. Put it to you that way, JC. You're doing very well, my man. Uh, Teflon Breed, I appreciate you getting in here. Raymond Solis, appreciate you. Everybody that jumped in, even if you jumped in and didn't even say anything in the chat, just thank you for jumping in, in general. And tomorrow's Thursday, so it's getting closer. It's getting closer to kickoff, guys. And I'm telling you, I cannot wait for this game. I've got a bomb ass video we're gonna have Friday, and then a short one Saturday, and then a post game on Sunday. So I'll see y'all guys Friday. Y'all have a good rest of the week. Charles in Charge is out.